All right, in this video we're going to cover updating the side assemblies for Chewy. So after the season there were several changes that mechanical did to the actual robot that never got put in CAD, and now it's hard for us to continue our CAD work because it doesn't match the as-built. So we're going to fix that. So when you open Fusion, you should have a bunch of projects on the left. We want the robotics 2021 season. If you're don't have that project, talk to a team member and we'll get you added to that project. So we'll go into that. Then we're going to go into the chassis, and that's where all the base, we call it the base or the chassis, is at. We've already got an MK4 sides that was created to start these updates, but is never completed. So we're going to open that. There's a pretty good list of changes here. The biggest ones are these are the wrong wheels. These beams that are holding the middle plate's the black one to the outer plate are the wrong size. There should be one hole shorter, so that makes this whole assembly quite a bit narrower. And the odometry modules might not be the correct ones, so we're going to check that and get those updated. And as you can see, the odometry modules aren't in the right locations. If you notice this yellow here, or this yellow triangle here, it's telling us some of the parts have not been updated, so that's the odometry modules. See there, they're out of date. That means somebody's edited the odometry modules already, corrected something, changed something, and then that needs to be pulled up to this assembly. So if you want to do an individual one, you can right-click and get the latest version for just that assembly, or if you want to update everything in your assembly, you can click it at the top. So that's going to update them all. Hopefully. Maybe I got to click it up here. Yeah, I'm sorry. So click that one and it'll update all the assemblies in this. Pull in everything below this, all the changes that have been made in assemblies that are part of this bigger assembly. So now all those yellows are gone. Also across the bottom you'll see some yellow. There's yellow here in the timeline, another one here. These are errors that are already in the model that sometime we had to go back and fix. We're not going to do that right now. So first thing I want to do is fix these odometry modules so their placement is right. You can see they're all over they're not where they need to be. It's kind of hard to figure these out. I struggled with this a little bit. So if we find we got to find the joints that are associated with that. So we're going to turn on the joints because these are already joined. There's a joint right there. If you click on it, you can edit that joint. And then here it says there's two things selected. So let's see what that joint is joining. What that has is this odometry module joined to this odometry module. I don't know why it was done that way. Keep in mind this was done as a learning exercise originally, so there might be some things in here that aren't making the most sense. So I'm actually going to delete that joint. I just highlighted it and hit the delete key. So now we're going to add a joint back in for that module. We want these notches that are sticking out to ride in these grooves here. So we'll do a joint. We're going to do it between two faces. And we're going to use the long faces of this piece sticking out here. So grab that face, and we'll grab that face, and then it's asking for where we're going to snap to, and we're going to use that face there. All right, and then we want it to slide in this black one again between two faces. A little hard to see what we're doing in here, but we're getting the long face on the black slide grooves on both. And then again it wants to snap, so we're going to use this face, so that should pull it flush. Looks pretty good, except it's not in the groove exactly where we want it, so we'll just grab that arrow and slide it down. You can see that changes this offset for the y-axis, puts that notch in there where we want it. And then motion, we actually want that to be a slider, so we'll change that to slider. Now you can see it's going sliding back and forth the wrong way, so we'll change the axis to the y-axis, and it's sliding up and down. So that's what we want. All right, now we've got that in there and sliding. You can see the joint. One of the things I like to do is name the joints. So if you come over here on the left side, if you double click in that a couple times, you can get it to highlight the name, and you can change that. I like to leave it as a slide because that way you know what kind of joint it is. But then also, what you can also see by the icon to the left of the name that says the slider. So you don't need it, but I like it. And then what is it? It's the odometry module. Sometimes I'll do the name of the two parts, odometry module, and then a number 2 to join into, and side. Sorry, that's the middle. To middle plate. So that's very descriptive, kind of long, but you can at least know what the joint is when you're going back editing things and trying to figure it out. One of the things with that is it was sliding all over the place, so if we right click and do edit joint limits, give it a min and a max, and these two arrows control that min and max. So if we pull them, never does exactly what I want when I'm recording a video. It should be animating that. Should be moving for us. I'm going to cancel that and see if we can fix that. Let's go back over here. That's not what we don't need. Animate joint, there it is, sorry. So it's animate joint to get it moving. So we can see what it's doing, and then yeah, it's funny. Well, let me. All right, I hit escape to make that stop. Joint limits. There. Sorry, I'm clicking the wrong spot. Now we can animate it. Now we should be able to also change the min and max. They're both set at 0, so there's nothing to animate. If we stretch that out a little bit, now we animate it. It's kind of hard to see through this other plate. If you want, you can hide that other plate. If we go back here on the left side and look for the inner plate, there's middle. So let's. Anyway, you can find it over here and hide it if you want. There it is. Hide that plate and we can see what's going on. So now we can just kind of stretch these to where we're getting about the travel we want so that the notch is riding in the groove. It's going a little bit too far down. So I might have to enter an actual value here, 0.35, see what that looks like. All right, hit enter. We got that done. And let's turn back the inner plate so we can see what's going on. All right, I need to do the same thing with this other module. So this other module already has a joint on it also connecting to the black plate. I'm going to hide the inner plate so we can see what's going on. There's a joint right there. And it's not done right, so we're just going to highlight it, right click. We're going to go ahead and delete it and redo it for practice. So I'm just going to hit the delete key. Oh no, here we delete it there. So we deleted that joint. Now this thing's floating in space again. I can prove that by showing that we can move it. Click the move, make sure component is selected. And we can move this around. So that, bring it up here where it's a little closer. When you can move something, that means it's not joined correctly. So now let's do a joint. We'll do two faces again. That, the two long faces of the notch, and then for the snap, select this top face of the notch. Okay, and then on the black plate, again, two faces. This black plate is the middle plate. Get those two long edges, and for the snap, we'll do the face of that black plate. It's in there, but it's sliding the wrong way. So again, we got to select the y-axis. Now it's moving the right way. And then when it's not moving, you can see it's stuck way up there. So we're going to bring it, just grab it, slide it down here. I like to look it over, make sure things look right. We might have to adjust the spacing this way a little bit too, because there probably should be a little gap. But we can come back and do that after we get the outer side plate in the right spot in a minute. And we can kind of balance it in between, see where it's at. So that's okay. And again, I will name my new slider. Double click in there a couple times. We're going to call that ODOM module 2. ODOM, let's see, ODOM module B. And then it's connected to metal plate. You can use whatever names make sense, but try and make them something somebody else will recognize later and figure out what it is. And then we can edit the joint limits, give it a min and a max. Again, we need to stretch those out a little bit. And we can animate it. Looks like it could go up a little higher. And it looks pretty good for this joint. So now those two modules are where they need to be. Okay, now that we have the odometry modules in, we're going to fix this outer plates in the wrong spot because these beams are the wrong ones. So we need to replace, there's 6 of them, 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom. So take a good look at where all those are before we do this. Like I said, there's 2 on the bottom and 4 on the top. You can notice they're opposite where the short beams are. So there's a short beam in this hole, there's a long one next to it in all of the 6 locations. So everywhere there's a short beam, we need to make sure we put a long beam back. To make this quick, unfortunately there's no way to just do a replace, which would be nice. We actually have to delete these parts, put in the correct ones. So I want to find this in the browser. So we'll click on the beam we want to find in browser, and it'll highlight it over here for us. So now I'm going to click on the top one, go to the bottom one with the same name because there's all 6 of them right there. Hold the shift key and click, highlights them all. There they are, all highlighted. Okay. So now I'm just going to hit my delete key. And what it's telling us is there's joints on those. So you sure you want to delete them? Yeah, we're going to delete them. And I deleted them. If you notice, we created some more yellow, and that is because those joints that we just deleted had some joints associated with it that was then driving sketches. That's kind of an error in the way the model is built that we can't change. Well, I don't know if it's error, just the way the model is built. We're going to ignore that for now. We won't change those sketches anymore this year because our side plates are cut and done. Something to worry about in the future, that we are careful how that's done, how we do that, build that model. All right, then we need the new beams. If you notice, those beams were 1106-003, and then the third set of numbers is the length in metric. So we're going to go back up a layer and uploaded parts is where all our parts are. Those are go build a parts. So you can go dig through here or search, and then 1106-0003 I happen to know those what we need are 56s. And there's that beam, so we'll drag one of those in. So this is an error message telling us those sketches all have problems. So we're going to ignore that for now. If I can think of a way to do that better, I will let you know. And then I like to go ahead and orient the beam in about the right orientation. So we'll rotate it 90 degrees. And click OK. Now we got to join these. This is the trick I learned recently watching one of our training videos. So we're going to do a joint. When we highlight that face, now if you hold down your Control key, or on a window or Apple, it's on the Command key, it keeps all those points highlighted. If I let go of the Control key, when I move my mouse over that center point, I get all the threads and things in the middle. So highlight Move your mouse over the N square, hold the control key, and then I'm going to zoom in and make sure I'm getting that center point. That is not what you want it to look like. I'm going to go back and do that again. I think when I highlight this, there's multiple points in there. Well, maybe that is it. Let's try it. And then we have to select our hole. We want to join that too. We want that on the black piece. For joints, I find it's best to just do the ring like that, not the whole barrel of the hole, just the circle where the intersection is. Like that. Oh, we left that as a slider, so change that back to rigid. And now if we look at that, that's what we want to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hole beam. That's what we need in there. Okay, we do that 7 more times. You can either drag it back in from here. You can also highlight the beam you want. That's right here. And then you can do a Control C and a Control V, and it'll put the new one you just pasted right on top. So you have to move it out of the way. Mouse over the end. It's not, oh, we didn't do a joint yet. Joint, mouse over the end. Make sure we get that center point. Spin around so we can see what we want. Again, just the circle. Place that there. All right, now you got 5 more to do. I'm going to leave those for you to do the rest of. Then we need to, you can see the outer plate is no longer joined to the, the spacing is not right. Inner plate is no longer, outer plate is no longer joined to one of the beams because we deleted that joint when we deleted all the beams. So we got to fix that. So after you do your other beams, you can again grab the circle. And we want to move the plate to the beam. So I'm selecting the outer plate first. Control key, center button, brings that plate in. All right, click OK. And we've got that all joined. We might have some stuff to clean up here with this axle and stuff, but it at least gets the overall dimensions of the robot right. Turn that inner plate back on. So if we do that all, we're close. We also need to replace these wheels with the newer Go Builda version. Those should be in the Go Builda parts library. And then look at the as-built robot and see if there's any other major changes. You can see our odometry modules actually are in here like they're supposed to be. They're fairly snug. Looks like a good fit on all that. So looks like what we needed.